It's March 5th. JLD here, and welcome to MSTR Today and the Treasury Titans. Nothing in this video is financial advice, but Michael Saylor wants us to take the orange pill. He's obviously already taken the orange pill. Have you taken the orange pill? I have taken the orange pill. I swallowed it as Bitcoin hovers around 73,000 right now at the time of me recording this at 6:21 a.m. Eastern Time. And Michael Saylor says, guess what? We can buy more Bitcoin than they can sell. One more time. We can buy more Bitcoin than they can sell. He is proving that with Stretch having $150 million in volume just yesterday, $200 million the day before. They have bought over 3,000 Bitcoin just this week. And that's only the first 3 days. We still have Thursday and Friday. Will they get to 5,000? Maybe. I mean, probably more around 4,000 if we're being honest. But that's a massive, massive number. You match that with what they're going to do with the MSTR Common, and it's going to be amazing. I had to write Bitcoin to 1 million, and that's a start. I truly believe it. So thank you for those 24 hearts. Appreciate that, guys. Michael Saylor says, choose your Bitcoin. You have MSTR, which was up 10 and almost 0.5% yesterday, up to 146. You have IBIT, which was volatile as well, at 7%. Nice little gain for IBIT. And then you have Stretch, flat as a flippin' pancake, up 0.04%, as Stretch is performing exactly as the dream. No volatility, just giving you your 11.5% return, tax-free or tax-deferred because of ROC, return of capital, as we speak. Fong Li says, doctors recommend a daily stretch routine. What is he referring to? Obviously, you know and I know. But for anybody out there that's kind of scratching their heads, he's talking about Stretch, STRC, the perpetual preferred, because guess what? It is the cure to all financial ills. Mark says, stop selling your Bitcoins to MSTR because Michael Saylor is just buying. He's just buying, and he's never going to sell. I am looking forward to at least 10,000 Bitcoin being bought or announcements this coming Monday. I think that over 10,000 will be bought this week. That is my guess. I'm going to have a more direct number on Saturday after we see what Stretch does the next 2 days. But I'll give you my educated guess this coming Saturday on how many Bitcoin Michael Saylor and Strategy bought this past week, and they're never going to sell. Chris wants us to take a moment to acknowledge something. Stretch has been trading at or above par all week. This is 1, during a bear market. 2, with Bitcoin down almost 50% from its all-time high. 3, when indexes were down on the week. 4, during a full-scale war in the Middle East. 5, Stretch is less than 8 months old. Do you understand how bullish this is? Because if Chris understands, and Chris is not a perma bull, he is a very conservative guy. If he thinks it's bullish, it's flipping bullish. Mark says, another strong day for Stretch, ending with 149 million in volume. All the volume was above par. That's what I love. All of the volume was above par. 100% of the volume was above $100. So $149 matched with yesterday's 201, the day before's 143. They are on fire. February 5th was capitulation day, says Mark, and this is in response to James' post about how Bitcoin bottomed on the same day as MSTR's Q4 earnings call. The market was pricing in bankruptcy on $8 billion in unrealized losses. This is what you have to realize. This is who we're dealing with. These are the fudders. These are the short sellers. They literally thought MSTR was potentially going to go bankrupt. So they drove the price down to 106, a generational entry opportunity. And man, I'll tell you, I dollar cost average on that day, and I'm proud to say it. I wish I had bought more, but I'm just sticking to my guns. I'm dollar cost averaging every single day. So February 5th was capitulation day, and it's only been up from there. Where are we going to go? Well, Bitcoin's around 73,000 at the time of this recording. Who knows? Could be a drift back into the 60s? Sure. Could shoot up into the 80s? Sure. Time will tell. Zink says, the bulls have been saying this for months. It's a matter of when not if the Bitcoin price goes up. Saylor is buying forever. The plebs are buying forever. The institutions are buying forever. It's just mathematics. Do not squander this once in a lifetime opportunity. And I think about this a lot, by the way. I have a 2-year-old son right now. I look at him and I say, are you going to be disgusted with me in 20 to 30 years when I tell you that I had the opportunity to buy Bitcoin in the 60s, in the 70s, and that I had the opportunity to buy MSTR in the 100s, in the low to mid 100s? Well, the answer is no. He's not going to be disgusted with me because I am buying. I'm not selling, and I'm never selling because I believe in this thesis 1,000%. Dan says, people starting to figure out that the Stretch is the most important product in the entire Bitcoin market. And Jeff says, the plumbing has been upgraded. Chris says, when people criticize the MSTR business model, what they don't realize is there was always going to be an entity that issued Bitcoin-backed credits. The world needs an entity that issues tailored Bitcoin-backed credit products at scale. It is the natural evolution of Bitcoin. If Michael Saylor didn't come up with the idea, someone else would have. And guess what? They wouldn't be as awesome as Michael Saylor. Period. End of story. Chris says, the average mind can't comprehend the level of conviction and ability to execute that Michael Saylor has. He is relentless, laser focused, laser eyes, following one course until success. VD wrote, he might be more famous than Satoshi in the future. And honestly, it's true. He might be. Metaplanet's up 17.41% in Japan. Giggity, says Adam. Both him and I have very nice sized positions in Metaplanet. Both of us are obviously down on those positions, but it's nice to see this recovery happening. Jeff says, for a glimpse into normie view of digital credit, look no further than at Jason himself and crew publicly displaying supreme ignorance to the largest story in corporate finance. Bewilderment is intensifying. I'm about to play this 3-minute, 35-minute clip from Jason, but I wanted to read this by Jeff first. The alpha and education gap is real. These guys have literally the best AI tools on the planet at their fingertips to explain the business model, yet publicly admitting they don't understand and clearly haven't tried to understand. I think this is a key sentence. They clearly haven't even tried to understand. And that's what so many of the bears are in the same situation. That's why they're so frustrating, because they haven't even tried to understand. And you're just looking at them and you're like, you're just not even taking a couple hours of your really just pathetic knowledge life and learning about this. Like, so you can at least, if you're still bearish after you learn about it, okay, so you're at least educated. We can at least have a conversation about it. But they're just so clueless. And then Chase says, but they really tried to understand it, haha. And then Maxie says, that's just hard to watch. I couldn't get through it. Well, we're going to try to get through it right now. I'm going to go ahead and play this. So sit back, relax, and enjoy.
Do you have any thoughts on MicroStrategy? Basically buying, I don't know if he's up to 7 or 8% of the non-dead float. The active float. Not the Satoshi wallets that have been dead since inception. But what has that done to the game, the religion, the project known as Bitcoin in your mind?
To acquire as much Bitcoin as possible is a very smart strategy. And I don't know all the nuances of how the financialization of strategy itself works.
I don't think any of us do.
But the thesis is valid. The thesis
I don't
is
know.
valid.
Logan, I'm not sure that anybody understands.
I've really tried.
Oh boy. There's layers and layers of ways to participate in the game known as MicroStrategy. Your thoughts, Logan?
Yeah, so I'm a full disclosure, a holder of MSTY. So I've enjoyed in the yield. And right now, just for the record, it is yielding 285%. And so not financial advice, but I did play it that way because I did not want to have direct exposure or ownership, because to your points, I have no clue as to how he's running this business. And now he's investing in these ETFs and raising new ETFs to finance it.
If you're building in the Bitcoin era, structure matters. Treasury strategy, capital allocation, entity structure, it all starts with a solid foundation. And when you're ready to form your business the right way, Northwest Registered Agent helps you do more than just file paperwork. With Northwest, you don't just create an LLC. You build a complete business identity from day one. That means registered agent service, a real business address, operating agreement, domain, website, professional email, phone number, and built-in privacy. No juggling vendors, no sketchy upsells, no selling your data. They've been doing this for nearly 30 years, and they're the largest registered agent and LLC service in the US with over 1,500 corporate guides, real humans who know your local laws and actually pick up the phone. Northwest handles everything in-house, which means fewer hands on your data and privacy by default for every customer. Don't pay hundreds or thousands of dollars for what you can get from Northwest for free. Visit northwestregisteredagent.com/JLD free and start using free resources to build something amazing. Get more with Northwest Registered Agent at northwestregisteredagent.com/JLD free.
That takes me to the issue of digital money and digital yield. So I told you I'd show you how to make money. Okay, I'm not saying just buy Stretch as an individual or your company should buy Stretch. Those are the two obvious ways to make money. But what we've observed is you can take digital credit and you can use it as the building block for digital yield and digital money. You can step it up or step it down. It's like sucralose. It's a universal sweetener, right? It is the active element of money making. So we've got a product which is 11% with like a vol of 10 to 20. You can cut it in half and you can create an instrument that pays 7.5% with much lower vol, or you can double it or triple it, amp it up in order to create something that pays 18% or 24%. Okay, so I can dial it up and down, but let's take this idea a bit further. Stretch's digital credit. Digital money, I would define as zero volatility, daily liquidity instruments. If you give someone zero vol and liquidity every day, you've created high-powered money. Digital yield is non-zero volatility or illiquid. There's nothing that says you can't lock up the money for 3 months, lever it 2 to 1, right? And maybe strip the vol or leave the volatility, right? You can do that as well, but I wouldn't call it money, I would call it yield. Now, the big idea is digital credit is programmable. And most people think programmable means like, oh yeah, I want to like do something computery with it. No, I've got a much bigger idea for you. Programmable means I take the credit and I turn it into a token, a private fund, a public fund, an ETF, an ETP. I make it a bank account, I make it a crypto account. So I turn it into a type of credit. Then I put it on a platform, the NASDAQ, the London Stock Exchange, Solana, Ethereum, Binance, Coinbase, Base. I put it on Aladdin. I put it on a Fidelity mutual fund system. I offer it through Morgan Stanley or JP Morgan's private wealth, system, or the Merrill Lynch system. There are a lot of different platforms I can put that on. Then I decide how much volatility I want. Turn it down to 0, turn it up to 25. You can strip the vol by creating a volatility buffer or a volatility reserve, or you can leave the vol or amp the vol. That's a decision, right, you make. Then liquidity, right? You can offer people hourly liquidity. You can even turn the yield into streaming yield. Stream the yield every hour, every day, every week, right? So, or you can turn it into it's a private fund. It's a 7-year duration, and we'll give you the ability to extract 10% of your capital every quarter. Or you can create liquidity or staking. You can stake it, by the way. If you think about the DeFi idea, you can stake this for 30 days, stake it for a year. You can lock it up. You can unlock it. And then you decide how much yield you want. I mean, probably you're not going to crank it down to less than 5 or 4% yield, although, the guys at Hope, they said, well, if we just take European money markets and we add 10% Stretch, We go from a money market that pays 200 basis points in euros to 300 basis points in euros. 10% makes it 50% better in Europe, right? So you could actually create something which is a world beater, right? Even with a small increment. It's like, how much sucralose do I have to put, sugar or whatever? How much do I put in the food or salt to actually make it taste good? So you can crank the yield up to 30%. You can crank it down to 3%. You can convert the currency to yen and euros. These are all opportunities to add value. And then once you've done it, right, then is it a fund? Is it a coin? Is it an account? Right? How about your bank just pays 8% to everybody tax-free, right? I mean, what was the big idea? Just wire me $100 billion. I pay 8% instead of, JP Morgan pays 2% after tax. Well, are you going to do anything else? No. Just that. It's like my message to the Emiratis is like, the UAE has a $250, $300 billion a year gross national product. Why don't you just have, banks in the Emirates pay 8%? People will wire you $10 trillion, take 100 basis points of that. And now you just increase the gross national product by 50% with 12 people. Well, what are we going to do? We're just going to collect their money. And it's like too simple, right? But oftentimes what you'll find is people will go jump through hoops and juggle chainsaws and feel like they're making progress. But when you give them the simple idea, it's like too good to be true. Like they're afraid to do the simple thing. Yeah, we'll just offer the bank account that pays you 8%. What's the second best? There is no second best.